The Galactic Council Hall was a massive structure floating above a quiet, blue gas planet. Its walls were made of shining metal and glowing crystal. Thousands of seats circled the center, like rings inside a giant arena. Today, the hall was full. Leaders from every corner of the galaxy had arrived. Some were tall and armored, others small and soft-skinned, some covered in scales or feathers. But despite their differences, they all shared one thing today. They were laughing, and all their jokes were about humans. At the center of the hall, the council speaker, an old reptilian creature with silver eyes, raised his claws for silence. But the room stayed loud, full of mocking voices. Humans are emotional children, one leader said. They fight like animals, another added. They call themselves warriors, someone else laughed. But their fleet is tiny. Their ships are cheap. They cannot survive a real war. Dozens of species agreed. Their voices echoed around the hall like a wave of arrogance. Many had never even met a human in person. They only knew rumors. And most of those rumors came from their own propaganda. A young alien officer stood near the back, silently watching. His name was Rollick, a member of the thin, blue-skinned Vurok species. He was much younger than the others in the hall. Unlike them, he had studied humanity carefully. He knew the old stories. He knew the reports the council always ignored. He knew that humans were not weak, but he stayed quiet. He was only an observer. He had no authority to speak. Still, as he listened to council laugh, something inside him felt uneasy, like a cold stone in his stomach. "Why does everyone mock them?" he whispered to the officer beside him. The other officer shrugged. "Because humans are nothing. Their technology is old. Their ships are small. They lose more battles than they win. And yet," Rollick asked softly, "they always survive." His words were ignored. At the front of the hall, the speaker began the meeting. "Council members, today we confirm the galaxy's defense treaty. We must unite our fleets against the Zarkan Empire. All great species will send ships, except, of course, the humans." This comment caused another round of laughter. "They probably do not even have a fleet to send," someone joked. "They can send their tiny patrol boats," another replied. Rollick looked down at his data tablet. On it, he saw the human fleet numbers from the last decade. Yes, they were small. Yes, they were outdated. But something strange appeared in the records. 10 years ago, the humans stopped sharing military updates. 8 years ago, many of their ships disappeared from the border. 7 years ago, Earth closed all trade routes. 5 years ago, every human colony reported classified military activity. And for the past 3 years, nothing. Silence. Complete silence. A species known for noise, emotion, and chaos had suddenly gone dark. Rollick felt a chill on his skin. He wondered why no one else noticed this, why no one else cared. But before he could think more, a loud alarm echoed through the council hall. Boom, boom, boom. The crowd fell silent. Every leader turned to the center hologram platform. A deep mechanical voice spoke. "Emergency alert. Unknown activity detected in Sector 9. Sector 9 was a dead zone. No species lived there. Nothing existed there except empty space and broken rocks." A new hologram flickered on. A radar map showed a tiny dot entering the sector. The speaker frowned. "Is it a pirate ship?" "Scanning," the AI voice said. A long pause. Then, "No engine signature detected." The hall filled with confused whispers. "No engine signature? That's impossible. All ships leave a trail. Check the sensors again." The AI repeated. "No signature. Object travels in complete silence." Rollick's heart beat faster. Silent travel was not possible. Every species knew that to cross deep space, a ship needed fuel, heat, energy, and those things always left a trace. Always. Unless something was different. The hologram zoomed in. The symbol grew larger on the map. Speed increasing. Mass increasing. Size unknown. The speaker looked irritated. "Probably a glitch. Our radar system is old." But the AI continued, its voice colder now. "Second object detected. Third. Fourth." The map filled with dots. Dozens of them. Then hundreds. Large formation entering Sector 9. Panic spread across the room. Leaders stood from their seats. Some shouted. Some demanded the system shut off. Others asked for backup data. Raleigh stared at the screen, frozen. "Who can hide a fleet of this size?" he whispered. The older officer beside him laughed nervously. "No one. It must be a malfunction." Raleigh didn't believe it. The dots moved with perfect formation. Straight lines, equal spacing, synchronized speed. No pirate group could do that. No wild species could do that. Only a military force could move with such discipline. A very trained force. The speaker finally shouted, "Identify the fleet." The hologram flickered again. Data lines scrolled down like falling rain. Origin, calculating. Size, classified. Energy signature. None. Propulsion, unknown. The AI paused. The entire room held its breath. Then the voice said, "Possible origin, human." The hall went silent. No jokes. No laughter. Nothing. Only silence. Even the speaker froze. That cannot be," he whispered. Humans did not have silent ships. Humans did not have hidden fleets. Humans were loud, emotional, chaotic. They did not build ghost armadas. Everyone stared at the hologram. The dots kept moving forward. Slow, heavy, unstoppable. "Display, visual feed," the speaker ordered. The hologram shifted. A blurry camera from a border station loaded the image. Static at first, then a shape, a long, dark hole moving through empty space. No lights, no sound, just a shadow. Then another, and another. The entire screen filled with massive ships, so many that the camera couldn't count them. Metal plates shaped like armor, thick cannons, strange designs the galaxy had never seen. A fleet built not to show power, but to hide it. Raleigh swallowed hard. This was no accident. This was a warning. The humans did not stay silent because they were weak. They stayed silent because they were preparing. And now, they were coming. The AI spoke again, its voice shaking slightly, as if even machine felt fear. Silent fleet on direct course to the front line. The speaker's claws trembled. He whispered the words no one expected to hear. "Humans, what have you built?" The council hall remained frozen. Every alien leader stared at the hologram as the silent fleet moved deeper into Sector 9. No one spoke. No one breathed. Even the air inside the hall felt thick and heavy, like the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Young Officer Raleigh's hand shook slightly as he zoomed in on the image. He could see the sharp outlines of the strange ships. They looked nothing like the old human cruisers shown in the archives. Human ships were usually small, uneven, and full of bright colors. These were different. These were frightening. Long, dark frames, heavy armor, silent engines that left no trail, and formation discipline so perfect it seemed unnatural. Raleigh whispered to himself, "Humans cannot build this, not with their old technology, not with their limited resources." But the image on the screen did not lie. Somewhere in the last decade, Earth had changed. The speaker forced himself to stand tall. "We will not panic," he said, though his voice cracked. "This must be a trick. Humans do not have the ability to hide a fleet." A council general from the Yaren species stepped forward. He was tall, with black horns and orange eyes. "Speaker, our border stations are reporting something else." "What now?" The speaker snapped, trying to sound brave. The general's voice dropped to a deep growl. "Ships from the Zarkan Empire are disappearing." The room erupted into chaos. Disappearing? Destroyed? How? The Zarkan are strong. What weapon could do this? The general raised his hand. The stations picked up silent flashes in space. No sound, no energy burst, no radiation. Only a bright light for one moment, and then Zarkan ships vanish. Raleigh's blood ran cold. Silent weapons, silent engines, silent movement, silent fleet. Nothing about this made sense. The speaker slammed his staff on the ground. "Enough! Someone explain what the humans are doing in Zarkan war space." But no one had an answer, not even the smartest species in the room. Suddenly, the hologram flickered. A new transmission began. The border outpost commander appeared, his pale insectoid face trembling. "Council, we tried to approach the unknown fleet. They are massive, larger than any human ships ever recorded. We attempted communication, but..." Static cut him off. Then a loud, sharp sound filled the hall. Boom, boom, boom. The signal broke, then returned. The commander's voice was shaky now. They turned toward us. The council gasped. "Did they attack you? Did you fight back? What do they want?" The commander shook his head violently. "No, they didn't fire. They only watched. Hundreds of dark ships, all turning at the same time, facing our station." Raleigh felt sweat on his forehead. That level of precision was not normal, not natural. It was trained, drilled, perfected. The commander continued. "We tried to scan them. Our system overloaded. Our sensors detected no energy, yet we felt the space around us vibrate. Something is inside those ships, something powerful." Before the speaker could respond, the hologram dissolved into static again. Then the AI voice returned. "Warning, multiple power signatures detected in Sector 9. Unknown weapons are charging." The entire hall froze. What weapons? Whose weapons? Are they human or Zarkan? Is this a trap? The AI answered. "Probability, human origin." The room fell into a cold silence. Raleigh stared at the holomap. The silent fleet was no longer alone. Smaller dots, Zarkan ships, were approaching from the other side. The two forces were closing in on each other, like two storms preparing to collide. Raleigh felt his chest tighten. "A battle," he whispered, "right in front of us, and we cannot stop it." The speaker pointed at the map. "Send drones. We need full information." Drones launched. The AI confirmed. Everyone in the hall watched as tiny drone icons flew toward the silent fleet. But something terrifying happened. The drones vanished. No explosion. No weapon impact. They simply stopped existing. Gasps echoed across the room. "That is impossible. No ship can do that. What are the humans hiding?" The AI delivered another blow of fear. Drones disabled by unknown technology. No trace left behind. Raleigh felt his heart thundering in his chest. This was not the humanity he knew from reports. This was something else. Something more dangerous. Something more strategic. Something evolved. The speaker rubbed his forehead in confusion. "We need answers from Earth. Contact their embassy immediately." A council officer rushed to the communication station. He tapped the console repeatedly. No response. He tried again, and again. Then he turned to the speaker, pale and shaking. "The human embassy is offline." The hall shook with fear. "What do you mean offline?" "That embassy is protected by the council." "Did they abandon their post?" "What are they planning?" The officer swallowed hard. "Their building is empty. Every human diplomat gone. Gone. Disappeared. Like they had prepared for this moment." The AI suddenly interrupted. Sector 9 scans updated. Approaching fleet is confirmed to be human. There was no more denial. No glitch. No error. No trick. The humans were coming. Raleigh whispered. "But why now? Why after years of silence?" Before anyone could answer, the hologram zoomed in on the battlefield. The silent fleet had stopped moving. They were drifting in a perfect line across the sector, blocking the Zarkan path. The Zarkan ships slowed. Then they aimed their weapons. Energy readings spiked. "Zarkan are preparing to fire," a council officer shouted. And humanity's fleet did nothing. No movement. No shields. No weapons charge. Just silent, cold patience. As if waiting. As if inviting the attack. Raleigh felt a strange fear crawl along his spine. Why are they not defending themselves? The speaker shook his head in disbelief. Maybe their fleet is empty. Maybe it is unmanned. Maybe it was a trap. Then, without warning, beam, a massive Zarkan cannon fired. The beam hit one of the silent ships directly. The room jumped. Smoke and light filled the hologram. Then the smoke cleared. The human ship was untouched. Not a scratch. Not a burn. No damage at all. The council hall erupted into absolute chaos. That is impossible. That weapon destroys moons. How did it survive? What armor is this? Ralex stared at the hologram, breathless. The silent ship slowly turned its massive gun toward the Zarkan fleet. One movement. Smooth. Cold. Controlled. Then, FOM. A single pulse of dim light burst from the human cannon. Not bright. Not loud. Just a soft, silent flash. But when the flash faded, the front line of Zarkan ships was gone. Completely gone. The galaxy had never seen a weapon like this. Raleigh whispered the only words that came to his mind. This is not the human race we knew. And the AI, as if listening, announced the chilling truth. Silent Human War Armada has entered the battlefield. The battlefield hung in a strange silence after the Zarkan front line vanished. The Galactic Council Hall was so quiet that even the faint hum of the hologram projectors felt loud. Every leader stared at the display, unable to understand what they had just witnessed. The silent human ship had fired only once. One soft flash. No explosion. No blast wave. No shock. And yet an entire formation of enemy vessels had disappeared as if space itself had swallowed them. Raleig's hands trembled. He had studied human technology his whole life, and nothing, absolutely nothing, matched what he was seeing now. How can a weapon erase ships without debris? A council general shouted. Where's the energy spike? Another demanded. There wasn't one, a technician whispered. It was almost zero. The speaker turned to his staff. We need full analysis. Everything you can detect. But the scanners provided nothing. No heat. No radiation. No known energy signature. Just silence. The same terrifying silence that surrounded the entire human fleet. On the hologram, the Zarkan formation pulled back, clearly shocked by the unexpected destruction. They hesitated, unsure whether to attack again or escape. One Zarkan warship finally fired a desperate missile storm. Dozens of glowing projectiles flew toward the human ships like blazing arrows. Everyone in the council hall leaned forward, waiting to see the humans defend themselves. But the silent fleet did not move. No shields activated. No weapons charged. The dark ships simply waited. The missiles hit and vanished. No explosion. No sparks. No sound. They passed into the hulls like raindrops falling into deep water. Raleig's breath caught in his throat. This was something more than armor, more than technology. It was something the galaxy had not imagined. The council hall erupted with panic. They are using dimensional tech. No, time distortion. Impossible. Humans cannot build any of this. The speaker shouted for order, but his voice no longer carried authority. On the battlefield, the largest ship in the silent fleet drifted forward. It moved slowly, like a giant awakening from a long sleep. Its surface remained completely dark, but strange lines of faint blue light crawled along its armor, like veins carrying some ancient power. The Zarkan ship scrambled to form a defensive wall. They are preparing a full attack, Raleigh whispered, watching their chaotic movements. The Zarkan fleet fired everything they had, lasers, beams, missiles, plasma cannons. The entire sector lit up with deadly colors. A normal fleet would have been torn apart instantly, but humanity's silent armada kept drifting forward untouched, the weapons passing through or simply dissolving upon contact. Finally, a faint glow appeared on the side of the largest human ship. No explosion, no roar, just a quiet pulse, like a heartbeat. The pulse expanded outward, slow at first, then faster, forming a circular wave. The council watched in horror as the wave passed through the Zarkan ships. Every vessel caught in the wave stopped moving, not destroyed, not damaged, just frozen in place. Engines dead, weapons offline, shields gone, all systems dark. An entire Zarkan battle unit, reduced to silent statues drifting in space. What kind of power is this? A trembling voice asked from the hall. Raleigh finally spoke, louder than he intended. This is not technology we know. This is something else, something they built in secret. The speaker turned to him sharply. How would the humans hide this? They lacked resources, scientists, factories. Every report said they could not even match our fleets. Raleigh shook his head. Every report said what the humans wanted the galaxy to believe. The speaker froze. Something clicked inside the hall. A realization everyone feared. Humans had been silent for a reason. They had wanted to disappear from the galaxy's attention. They had wanted the Council to underestimate them. They had wanted the Zarkan Empire to think they were easy prey. And while the galaxy insulted them, while politicians mocked them, while enemies attacked them, they were building this. A machine of war unlike anything ever seen. As the battle continued, the silent fleet stopped firing. They did not chase the remaining Zarkan ships. Instead, they held position, forming a cold wall across the sector. One small Zarkan ship attempted to escape, engines burning at full power. The silent fleet did nothing. Then the escaping ship exploded on its own. Raleigh frowned. Why did it blow up? A council technician swallowed hard. It didn't. The ship's matter collapsed into itself. Raleigh felt the coldest fear he had ever known. Matter collapse. Not even the oldest species in the galaxy had unlocked that technology. The speaker finally whispered, "What have the humans become?" Before anyone could respond, the battlefield feed flickered. A communication signal appeared. Unknown origin, unknown code, unknown encryption. But one thing was clear. It was coming from the silent Armada. Everyone stood frozen as the screen flashed with a single line of text. Preparing transmission to Galactic Council. Gasps filled the hall. They're contacting us. After all this? What do they want? The lights dimmed. The hologram expanded. Static filled the image for a moment, then cleared. A human appeared. He stood tall inside a dark command room. His face was calm, emotionless, lined with cold discipline. His uniform was black with a symbol no one recognized. 2 silent wings with a single star between them. His eyes were sharp, focused, heavy with something ancient. Raleigh felt his breath stop. This was not a diplomat. This was not a soldier. This was a commander forged from silent years and secret wars. When he spoke, his voice was deep and steady. Galactic Council, you have insulted us. You have ignored our call for help. You have watched our colonies burn. The speaker's mouth fell open. The human continued. For 10 years, we listened to your laughter. For 10 years, we built what you feared most. He leaned forward slightly. You think humanity is weak. You think we run. You think we break easily. The hologram darkened. We do not break. Another silent ship moved behind him, enormous and shadowed. We evolve. The human commander lifted his hand, and the entire silent fleet lit up with thousands of faint blue lines, like a sleeping beast finally opening its eyes. We are done hiding. The hologram crackled as his final words echoed across the hall. Step aside, or you will stand in our way. The transmission ended. No one in the galaxy spoke. Not the speaker. Not the generals. Not even Raleigh. The silent Armada waited, and the galaxy finally understood. Humanity had returned. The council hall remained frozen long after the human commander's transmission ended. His final words, "Step aside or you will stand in our way," echoed inside every mind. No one dared speak. No one dared move. The weight of the silent Armada hung over them like a shadow, ready to swallow the galaxy whole. Raleigh kept his eyes on the fading hologram, unable to stop the trembling in his fingers. He had studied dozens of human leaders, loud politicians, nervous diplomats, emotional generals. But the man he had just seen was none of those things. This human commander was carved from steel and silence. He had the calm that only came from surviving something the galaxy had never witnessed. Finally, the speaker tried to speak, but his voice cracked. What are we facing? What kind of weapons do the humans now possess? No one answered. Instead, the council officers stared down at their devices, all showing the same blinking alert. Human Armada awaiting response. The Zarkan border alarm suddenly activated again. Raleigh turned his eyes back to the hologram. More Zarkan fleets were arriving, larger ones carrying heavy siege weapons. The Zarkan Empire must have noticed the destruction of their first unit and sent reinforcements without delay. The new Zarkan forces positioned themselves in aggressive formation, surrounding the silent human ships from all sides. "Look!" someone shouted across the hall. The Zarkan fleet fired without warning. Thousands of beams, hundreds of torpedoes, massive cannons that bent space as they fired. It was a storm of light, but the human armada didn't move, not even an inch. Their ships floated in perfect stillness, as if mocking the violent storm crashing into them. Explosion after explosion filled Sector 9. Light burned across the darkness. For a moment, nothing could be seen through the blinding chaos. The council waited, terrified, trying to see if the human fleet had finally taken damage. The smoke cleared. Rollick's eyes widened. The human armada stood untouched. There were no cracks, no scorch marks, no sign of impact. It was as if the Zarkan attack had been swallowed by the void long before reaching the hull. "How? How is this possible?" a general whispered. A scientist in the back stammered. "Their hulls are absorbing energy, not deflecting, absorbing." Rollick felt his heart freeze. If humans had found a way to absorb enemy fire, convert it, store it, then the entire balance of the galaxy had already changed, and no one had seen it coming. On the hologram, one of the larger Zarkan carriers began to retreat. Its engines flared in panic, pushing the massive ship backward. The silent armada reacted, not with weapons, not with movement, but with a single pulse of dim blue light, spreading slowly between the ships. The pulse touched the retreating Zarkan vessel. Instantly, the giant ship folded in half, smoothly, quietly, like it was made of paper. No explosion, no noise, just a terrible, graceful collapse into itself before vanishing completely. The council hall erupted into chaos. Is that gravity manipulation? No, it's spatial compression. Humans can't do that. This is beyond science. Rollick stepped forward. They can do it. They had 10 years. 10 years without interference. 10 years for their species to unite, to focus, to evolve. The speaker shook his head stubbornly. Humans do not work together. They fight among themselves. They argue. They divide. Not anymore, Rollick said softly. Another human ship slowly drifted ahead of the formation, larger than the rest. Its design was unlike any known shape in the galaxy. Sleek, heavy, covered in strange glowing lines that pulsed like a heartbeat. The Zarkan fleet panicked. Ships began to scatter in every direction. The human commander's voice suddenly returned through an open channel. "You threaten our worlds. You burned our outposts. You erased our warnings." His tone remained calm, too calm, and now you run. The massive human ship extended for dark, wing-like structures. Blue cracks of energy flared between them, forming a glowing pattern like an ancient symbol rising to life. The council officers leaned closer, breathless. What are they doing? Is that a weapon? No signature detected. This is impossible. A moment later, the wings released a silent shockwave. No light, no explosion, just a ripple in space. Every Zarkan ship caught in the wave froze. Engines died. Weapons powered down. Shields vanished. Their lights dimmed until they were drifting shadows. One by one, their ships began to break apart. Not violently, but silently, falling into dust that faded into the darkness. No debris. No wreckage, just nothing. Rollick felt a chill travel down his spine. This was not victory. This was dominance. The speaker's voice cracked as he whispered, "Humanity has become the strongest military force in the galaxy." For the first time in the Council's existence, fear filled the room. Not fear of an enemy empire, not fear of war, but fear of a species they had mocked for centuries. Humanity, a species once considered weak, emotional, chaotic, now commanded the most terrifying fleet ever seen. The hologram shifted suddenly. The human commander appeared again, standing in his dim command room. His eyes scanned the council, as if he could see them all directly. "You have a choice," he said. The room fell silent. Stand with humanity or stand aside. He paused, let his words sink deep. Because the Zarkan Empire is coming for all of us. And if you believe your old defenses can protect you, he leaned forward. You learned nothing from watching them fall. The hologram faded. The silent armada turned toward the deeper Zarkan territories, engines finally igniting with a low, thunderous hum. Humanity was not defending its borders anymore. It was marching toward the heart of the enemy. The galaxy held its breath, and the Council realized the truth. Humans had not returned to ask for help. They had returned to finish a war. The great armada moved like a silent shadow across the void, its ships drifting without light, without sound, without any trace a normal scanner could detect. For a moment, even the alien generals wondered if they were looking at a natural glitch in space. But then the shadows stretched, grew sharper, and took shape. What first looked like a distortion now revealed itself as steel. Hundreds of Terran warships shifting into formation. On the alien command bridge, a cold quiet spread. Every officer felt it. The same fear they once mocked humans for. They had laughed at Earth's small fleet, called them weak, rude, emotional creatures. Now they stood frozen as they watched what humans truly kept hidden. Across the front lines, the alien troops noticed changes in the battlefield. Static crawled over comms. Bright stars dimmed slightly. The dust around asteroids trembled as if something massive passed by. None of them understood what was happening. Not until their sensors updated with new data, an impossible number of signatures entering the war zone. Hundreds, no, thousands. Then the truth hit them. The Silent War Armada had arrived. The flagship of the alien empire tried to send a warning, but the message cut off halfway. The air on their bridge felt heavy, almost pressing against their lungs. An officer looked up at the commander with shaking hands. "Sir, our long-range scans just failed. Something is blocking the entire sector." The commander swallowed hard. "Humans," he whispered. Meanwhile, on the human side, the fleet was calm and steady. Every ship moved with calculated precision. There was no panic, no fear. The soldiers inside were focused, prepared, and strangely quiet, a silence that held more power than any battle roar. These were not the same humans the galaxy once bullied. These were warriors shaped by loss, by humiliation, and by a promise to never be underestimated again. Captain Lyra stood on the bridge of the lead dreadnought, eyes fixed forward. "They insulted us," she said softly. "They believed we would break. Today they will learn." Her second-in-command nodded. "And the galaxy will never forget." Without another word, the human fleet activated their stealth armor one final time. Light bent around their hulls, making the ships almost invisible even at close range. The alien forces tried to lock on, but every targeting system reported failure. Their computers could not understand how something so large could move with such silence. Then, without sound, without warning, the first human strike landed. A bright flash tore across the alien front lines, but it came from nowhere. Their defense cannons fired at empty space, hitting nothing. Their shields collapsed before they could raise backup systems. Entire cruisers lost power in seconds. Confusion turned to terror. Ships tried to retreat, but the void around them shifted again. More human ships uncloaked right in their path, cutting off every escape route. It was a trap so perfectly executed it felt unreal. The alien commander clenched his fists. "They are ghosts fighting like shadows. How do we stop what we cannot even see?" No answer came. Across the battlefield, the Silent War Armada continued advancing. Not fast, not loud, just steady, unstoppable, and precise, like a storm moving across a calm sea. The galaxy had insulted humanity, not knowing the fire they carried inside. Now that fire burned across the stars. And with every alien ship that fell, a message grew louder, clearer, impossible to ignore. Humans were not weak. Humans were not afraid. Humans were not done. They were only beginning. The alien commander could only watch as his control screens filled with warnings, red lights flashing across every section of the ship. Power levels dropped. Communications failed. Shield generators flickered like dying candles. The once proud flagship of the alien empire felt small, fragile, and helpless under the silent pressure of the human fleet. Outside their windows, pieces of destroyed cruisers drifted slowly, metal torn apart so cleanly it looked like they had been sliced by light itself. The stars that once seemed calm now felt like cold witnesses to a judgment long overdue. Every alien officer stood stiff with fear, their breaths shallow, their eyes wide. Then the commander saw them. Human ships floating with deadly grace, their hulls smooth and dark, like beasts made from a void. They didn't fire recklessly. They didn't celebrate. They moved like disciplined warriors with mission carved deep into their soul. In the Terran dreadnought, Captain Lyra watched the battlefield unfold with steady eyes. She felt no joy in this. Only purpose. Only justice. Enemy flagships are losing power, her officer reported, voice controlled. Their weapons are offline. Lyra nodded slowly. Hold fire. Let them understand. The human ships paused. For a moment, the battlefield fell silent again. No lasers. No explosions. Only the echo of fear spreading through the alien ranks. The alien commanders stared at the dark screens, confused. Why are they stopping? Sir, maybe they want us to surrender, an officer whispered. But the commander shook his head. Surrender meant nothing when the enemy could destroy you in seconds. Yet, the humans did not finish them. They waited. Captain Lyra spoke calmly. Open a channel. A small green light flashed. The voice of a human officer echoed across the alien bridge. Alien Command, this is Captain Lyra of the Terran Dominion. You mocked our strength. You insulted our warriors. But we did not come for revenge. We came for peace. The alien commander's breath caught. Peace? After the destruction he just witnessed? Lyra continued. But peace does not come to those who treat us as weak. Peace must be earned with respect. The silence that followed was heavy, almost crushing. Every alien officer looked at their commander, waiting. Then Lyra spoke again, her voice cold and sharp like sharpened steel. Stand down. Leave human space. Never return with threats. If you do, the silent Armada will not stop next time. The alien commander's hands trembled. He understood now. Humans had given him a chance, a final warning, a way out. He closed his eyes and lowered his head. This is Alien Command. We surrender. A wave of disbelief moved across the alien bridge, but no one dared argue. Outside, the human ships slowly drifted apart, their silhouettes fading like shadows returning to the night. The galaxy would talk about this moment for centuries. The day the silent human armada walked into a battlefield and ended a war without needing to destroy everything. As the humans retreated back into the darkness, one message echoed across every star system. Humanity did not seek war, but they would never again allow anyone to insult them and walk away unchallenged. The news of the surrender spread to the alien empire faster than any ship could travel. Commanders, governors, and warlords who once laughed at humanity now sat frozen in fear, staring at the recorded footage of the silent human armada drifting like shadows above a broken battlefield. Many refused to believe it at first. Some thought it was edited, a trick, a false broadcast. But then the sensor logs arrived, the destroyed cruisers, the vanished fleets, the unexplainable signatures of human cloaking technology far beyond anything the galaxy had imagined. No one could deny the truth anymore. Across dozens of alien worlds, whispers filled the halls of power. For years they had pushed humans. Insults, small attacks, trade blockades, disrespect in every council meeting. They believed Earth was too young, too emotional, too primitive to stand against old star empires. But now they understood something frightening. Humans had been preparing in silence. In the Terran Dominion, the mood was very different. Cities were calm. People walked with quiet pride. The victory was not celebrated with loud parades or fireworks. It was more personal, like a deep breath after holding pain for too long. Captain Lyra returned to the capital station above Earth. When she stepped off her ship, crews saluted her with respect, but no cheers. Everyone understood the cost of the war. Many lives had been lost before the silent armada was deployed. Lyra carried their memories in her heart, and every soldier in her fleet did the same. Inside the High Command Chamber, the Terran leaders gathered around a large holographic map of the galaxy. Red zones, enemy territories, slowly faded to orange, then yellow. Many alien nations rushed to send messages of peace, apology, or negotiation. Some even offered resources in fear of angering humanity further. Commander Hale turned toward Lyra. The galaxy is changing. The silent Armada showed them what we can do. Now everyone is watching us. Lyra nodded. Fear is not our goal. Respect is. And if they forget this lesson? Hale asked. Lyra's expression didn't change. Then the Armada will remind them. Outside the chamber windows, Earth shined below. Blue oceans, white clouds, continents glowing with life. The planet looked peaceful, innocent, almost unaware of the power that now protected it. But deep in orbit, hidden behind the shadow of the moon, the silent Armada rested. Thousands of dark warships drifted like sleeping giants, waiting for the moment they would be needed again. Their engines were cold. Their hulls were quiet. But their presence alone sent a message across the stars. Humanity was no longer the weak race the galaxy once mocked. Humanity was awake. Humanity was united. And no empire, no kingdom, no ancient species would ever treat Earth with disrespect again. Not while the silent war Armada watched from the darkness, ready to rise at a moment's notice. The galaxy held its breath, unsure of what humanity would do next. But one thing was clear. The age of underestimating humans was over forever. You said, Part 8 without heading ChatGPT said. The galaxy remained tense in the weeks that followed. Messages traveled between star nations, some filled with fear, some with curiosity, and some with cautious respect. For the first time in history, every major power shifted its attention toward one single world, Earth. But humanity did not rush to expand or conquer. Instead, they remained silent, watching from the shadows, their fleets hidden just beyond the edge of most sensors. This silence frightened the galaxy more than any weapon ever could. On a distant alien world, a council of warlords gathered. They spoke in nervous tones, their voices shaking each time they mentioned the silent human Armada. These leaders, once loud and proud, now argued in whispers. Their people demanded answers. How could a younger species build such power? How did humans grow strong in such a short time? No one had answers, and fear filled the gaps. Meanwhile, on the Terran capital station, Captain Lyra stood alone on a high observation deck. She watched Earth turn slowly below her, the blue planet peaceful under white clouds. For the first time in many years, she allowed herself to breathe freely. But she was not relaxed. Her mind replayed the battles, the losses, the fear humanity once endured before they built the silent Armada. She remembered the insults from alien diplomats, the treaties broken, the ships destroyed. Humans had suffered, and they had learned. Behind her, Commander Hale approached quietly. The alien coalition wants a new peace summit, he said. They want to rewrite the old agreements. Lyra did not turn. This time they come with respect? Hale nodded. They do. They fear us, but they respect us more. Lyra finally looked at him. Good. Fear fades. Respect remains. Across the solar system, human engineers upgraded the silent fleet. New stealth plating, improved weapons, faster engines. The Armada was already powerful, but humanity wanted to ensure no one would ever challenge them again. Yet even with this immense power, humans did not attack or threaten anyone. Their strength came with discipline, and their silence held meaning. The galaxy had seen races with power before, but never a race that wielded it so quietly, so carefully. On a small moon base, young cadets trained for future missions. They were excited, filled with pride, knowing they belonged to a species that had earned its place among the stars. They studied the battles where the silent Armada turned the tide, and they understood one thing clearly. Strength was not only in weapons. Strength was in unity. As months passed, alien ambassadors finally returned to Earth, not with demands, but with open hands. They requested trade, cooperation, and understanding. They knew that humanity's rise was not a threat if handled with respect. Captain Lyra watched these new diplomats closely. She did not trust them fully, but she allowed hope to grow. Humanity did not want to rule the galaxy. They simply wanted fairness. On the edge of the galaxy, the silent human Armada remained hidden, drifting like dark stars in the void. They were unseen, unheard, untouched, but they were always ready. Every alien nation knew this. Every human citizen felt safer because of it, and the galaxy slowly understood a truth that would echo for generations. Humans were not powerful because of their weapons. Humans were powerful because they refused to bow, because they learned in silence, because they rose when mocked, because they stood when others wanted them broken. The age of humanity had begun, not with conquest, but with courage. And in the cold quiet of space, the silent Armada waited, calm, watchful, and unchallenged.